Hey, hello. Welcome back to
Back.
what do we have to say it? Are we saying it? I don't know if we've given up already or not.
Whenever anyone asks, I just say fish and a rice cake.
Fish and a rice
That's
cake.
what I'll say.
Right, welcome back to Fish and a Rice Cake. You can change the graphics on this one.
Big job this week.
Jake's definitely the graphic designer out of the two of us.
Yeah. How many mock-ups did I send you? I was just like, we could do versions with this colorways, we could do a version with this font.
Yeah.
Different, all of them.
You're pretty good though. You're definitely better than me. I'm fucking shit on Canva.
Yeah.
Awful on it. You're very good at it.
I enjoy it, but it pops into my head at like the worst. Like it'll be on a night when I'm lying in bed and I literally been trying to get to sleep for like half an hour, and then something will pop into my head, an idea to do, and then I've got that like mindset where then I won't be able to sleep until I get up and just sit down and try and do it.
So you'll just do it in the middle of the night, or
Actually, yeah, my Sophie nuts sometimes. She'll come in and I'm just sat in my just like tweaking on camera. But I'm like, if the thing is, I'm like, if I don't do it now, I won't remember it in the morning, and then I'll be annoyed because I'll know that I've forgotten something that I thought was a good idea.
Yeah,
and it'll never come back.
I think you do get your best ideas about whether it's content, whether it's like even things like the podcast or a bit of just an idea, even if it's like coaching. Like, oh shit, that'll be a great idea for coaching.
Yeah.
And you'll get it randomly. Sometimes I will get it in the middle of the night, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't get out of bed. Plus, I can't get out of bed. It's now disallowed in our house because if you wake up the baby, like you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
But I'll get my phone out. I've got like a little note section. Right, idea for the morning.
That's what I need to do. I need to get something because I don't typically have my phone by the bed. I leave it just charging in a separate room, so I don't have anything to write down. So maybe like pen and paper or something.
Yeah, I tried that for a while. I took my phone out of the room just because like you find yourself just like you get into bed, pick up your phone and just like doom scrolling absolute shit, before you go to sleep. And I'm trying to get away from that as much as possible. I've even tried reading a bit recently, but I got one of them Loomies. Have you seen them? So
the lamps.
It's like an alarm clock. So it's a natural light one.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good. Like it does actually work. So I set it for like 6 a.m. and it starts brightening up gradually at like 5:30. And it actually genuinely, like you wake up at 6 and you're ready to go. It's not, whereas like when your alarm goes off on your phone and it's like that I hate that alarm tone. And you hear it and it's like stress straight away.
To be fair, like our curtains are terrible at knocking light out. So like our room, even at night at the minute, is bright. So I bought a blind a year ago. I bought a blind to put up and it was too long.
Yeah.
I'm not going to try cut it down myself because I've got no idea what I'm doing and it'll go wrong. So I tried finding people to cut it down, couldn't find anyone. So it's been lent against the wall for a year. And then literally on Tuesday, I managed to get someone round to do it. And they were like, because it's only like half an inch either side too long, they were like, if I cut it down to be like an internal blind to fit against the window and not just hang over the top, they were like, there's no guarantee that it'll fit properly or it'll look right. So like, I'm just going to hang it externally, like above the window instead of like into the actual
not in the arch.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, that's fine, as long as it blocks out the light. And they've done it. I know they've done a good job of fitting it, but the light still comes out the side and out the front. And we're lying in bed like, I've had that for a year and it's just not made any difference. And the only problem now is because what we were doing before with the curtains was pushing stuff into the curtains on the windowsill to sort of block out the light.
Yeah.
Can't do that now because now there's a big blind. It's just like,
go old school, a cardboard box or something, mate. That'll do.
It's been my life. I don't mind it too much. Like I can sleep okay with it, but it affects Sophie more than it does me.
Yeah.
Absolute bane of my life is that blind. I don't know what I'm going to do about it.
Well, get a blackout blind, mate. That's what you.
Well, that's what it's supposed.
So it is a blackout blind, but it's just because of the way it's.
But because it's been done externally, the light out the sides and out the top.
Yeah, I couldn't deal with that. Especially now in the summer because it's alright in the winter, but in the time when it's getting bright at like 4:30.
This is it, and so like
when you're always walking the dog at like stupid o'clock.
I walk him at about 5 on a morning.
Yeah.
But I'm up by like 4 now most mornings.
Be fine.
I'm gonna say you get up early.
Yeah. She has me up. Like she's actually getting better with her sleep now, but she's still getting up. And the thing is with babies, like, so the way to gauge apparently if they're like ready to go up for the day or not is if they wake up crying, they're still tired. If they wake up and they're laughing and smiling and stuff, it's like, right, I'm ready to get up. Fucking 4:30 in the morning, I can hear us like giggling away. I'm like, fuck's sake, he's awake.
That must be why I wake up crying most mornings. I need more sleep.
But anyway, enough rambling. So as always, we're Jake and Jake, or Jake and Big Dave, and we're here to basically give you some decent nutrition training.
Give our 2 cents or
just talk a bit of shit, really.
Fitness, on training, on nutrition. But actually, before we go into that, let's address this before we do anything.
Oh, mate.
So obviously, I've been seeing you grow this for the last few weeks on calls and whatnot, and actually, it's coming in all right now. But
I had a shave this morning on the rest of the areas to bring it out a little bit. So
you lost the bet, didn't you?
Yeah, I lost a bet. So Will Sherwood, Trident Coaching, you bastard. He bet me that basically he said if City win the Champions League, you're gonna have to grow a tash. And obviously, I couldn't go against it. My hands were tied with it because I obviously wanted City to win the Champions League.
Right up there,
Ditch me up. So yeah, here we go. There it is. I think we're about 2 weeks in at the moment, and I am notoriously shit at growing facial hair. Like some of my mates in school have beards like you. Do you know what I mean? Like year 10, year 11. This is about as long as it's ever been for me, and it's still a bit. It's a bit pubic.
What does Louise think?
To be honest, I think she's that tired all the time.
Can't even notice.
Can't even fucking notice. We went away last weekend for a mum's 60th, and a mum saw me and she went, "Jake, what is that on your face?" And Louise went, "Oh yeah, I've only just noticed that." I'm like,
well, it shocked. Do you know what shocked me about it? And I've not mentioned it to you yet, but you know, on your stories when you're walking the dog in the morning, you've always got Thea, aren't you, on your head?
Yeah.
And you always use that filter that gives you and Thea a mustache. So then when you actually came on the call and you had one on the call, I thought you had a filter. I thought you had a filter to start with. So I didn't say anything on that call because I thought,
that's a proper tash. I'm thinking, give it a few more weeks. If I get out this kind of pubic stage that it's in right now, I can get like a little kit, get some oil in there, get a little brush, and because my dad had a proper tash back in the day when he was my age. And I'm like, all right, if I can do that, even if it's just for a few weeks, just for a laugh, right? And then I'll get rid of it.
My dad was clean shaven my entire childhood, and then when I was at uni, I came home for Christmas. I think in my first or second year, and he'd literally just grown a full-on beard. And the time I'd left in September and come back in December, it was just and he's just had one ever since, and that was like 7 or 8 years ago.
Your facial hair is good. There's no way.
But we've spoken about this before. I've just let this grow in. Since it started.
So how do you maintain it?
I just get it trimmed like every.
And do you get it done at the barbers?
Yeah, I get it done at the barbers.
Okay, right.
If it gets too bad, I'll do it a bit myself. More if it just starts going around into your mouth and it starts to like that. But other than that, I'll just leave it.
And what do they do? Do they trim it?
Trim it down, just shape it around there and then trim it down. And then I've just left it apart from that, and it's just sort of grown in a bit more.
Yeah, this is all a learning experience for me here.
Yeah, but like I said, if I shave this off now, it'd be 6 months before I saw anything again. So it's not going anywhere.
I like it, mate. I couldn't imagine you without it though, because I've only ever I've seen pictures of you with baby face on the photo shoot on one of your photo shoots.
My first ever photo shoot, I was clean shaven.
Yeah.
Second one where my hair was longer.
Because you did one with Sophie, didn't you?
Oh, I did do one with Sophie last year. I did shave it down a bit for that.
Right. Okay.
It was still a little bit, but I think just because of the tan and the lighting and stuff, you couldn't really see it. So it was pretty much shaven. Yeah. But I did I did shave it off last year. I went to sort it out myself, fucked it up, which is why I don't do it by myself now, and put a big line down the side of my cheeks. So it's all gonna have to come off. And I just took it all off and I walked out, and Sophie was like, "What have you done?" I
prefer you with the beard.
I think so. I think it's just because I look so much younger without it.
Yeah.
It's just weird.
And you know what? As well, if you can grow a beard, so my dad's bald, and
so's mine.
I've always been cautious that I'm going to lose my hair. I still, I'm going strong at the moment.
Mine will be gone. 5 years.
You're going strong, mate.
Mine will be gone. My dad's bald. My granddad's bald. My younger brother's already bald.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See,
he'll say it's through choice, boys.
See, my dad was bald. My granddad was, but my mum's dad, some other granddad, he had hair when up until when he died when he was 90. So I'm thinking if I've taken those genes, fingers crossed, I'm going to hang on to it. But I think if you do go bald,
as long as you've got a beard,
you're all right. You've got that upside down head look. Whereas because I can't grow a beard, I've also got massive ears. I just look like a really weird. I need to grow a beard.
At least you got this now. I feel like I'm interviewing Magnum PI or something.
Right, this is it. Give it a few weeks, it'll be even better.
Anyway. Yeah, we should probably actually talk about why we're here, to be fair. So we touched a little bit on this in one of the last episodes. A little bit of just the odd coaching horror stories. And I only remember it because I made a reel out of it called Coaching Horror Stories, and we thought might just be one to go into. And it's more from the point of view of look, like any sort of industry, I'll just make sure this is actually there. Like any industry, there's good and there's bad in there. There's people that we wouldn't consider good coaches, and likewise, there are a lot of good coaches. But some of the stories that we've come across I think why we want to talk about is because it just leaves a sour taste in people's mouth, and it leaves them being like, oh well, that's just a scam, like it doesn't work or anything, and that's just because of their bad experience. But
Yeah, and it leaves a bad mark on the industry, doesn't it, for people, for the good coaches? Which
Yeah.
hopefully, we are. We're them, and it is. We've heard these stories, and I suppose it then makes it really. It's frustrating for us because then if we speak to someone who's potentially interested in signing up into coaching and making changes, but they've had this bad experience, they're expecting the same from you, and maybe they've wasted money, and yeah, it's frustrating.
Yeah.
Now, what we will say as well is, I think, just to caveat that, because there are some bad coaches and there are some really fucking shitty coaches, and you are just a paycheck to some coaches. But I think that you've also got to understand that when you pick your coach, pick them based on their values. Because if you, for example, and obviously we'll talk about this stuff in a bit more detail, but I had someone message me at the weekend saying she was just like a normal lady, kind of, I think she was about 38, 39. She's got a couple of kids, like very normal life, just wants to lose a little bit of weight. She's like, my coach has given me these kind of really specific macros and this kind of meal plan, etc., etc. And I was like, to be fair, he's a bodybuilding coach.
Yeah.
So his speciality is bodybuilding. He gets people into shoot condition, show condition.
Yeah.
So that's going to be his approach. So I think a lot of, listen, I'm not saying that, the way that we do things, I think is tailored to the person.
Yeah.
But you have to make sure that when you're picking a coach, and we will do another episode on this as well, that it's the right one for you.
Yeah. Because, and like I said, we won't go into too much detail because we will have nothing to talk about in a couple of episodes' time. But I've done it myself. I've been with a bodybuilding coach in the past, gone into it knowing I was going in with a bodybuilding coach because I literally just wanted to see what that would entail. And I think I did it for like 8 months, and I was just like, yeah, do you know what? This just isn't for me, sort of thing. Like, I don't want to be this strict. And I was like, this isn't a knock on that person because they were doing what I paid them to do and they were doing it well. I was like, it's just not for me. So there is definitely that side to it. But then there is a side to it where sometimes, like, we hear stories and even we're like, fucking hell.
I know.
I can't believe that's happened.
I know. Go on, kick us off. Give us one.
Well, I had one, which isn't horrendous. I mean, it's bad. We'd never do it. It's not horrendous. But I had one with a client like 6 months ago who, when I had a call with him, I was almost on the back foot from the start because he'd had a few bad experiences. So it was very much, he was like, you're not going to do this, are you? And you're not going to do that. And one of the things he'd done, him and his mum, so he's a young lad, he was like early 20s, wanted to put some size on. And then obviously his mum, older, I think was wanting to lose a bit of weight, completely different lifestyles, completely different body shapes. And they both paid for a plan from the same coach. I don't know who the coach was. And he said they got him sent through. And not only did they both get sent the literally exact same plan, word for word, food, training, everything, it was like both plans had the same wrong name on them. They had like someone else's name on them, which wasn't either of their name. And so I was like, not only have they been sent the exact same thing, which is ridiculous to begin with, because they're completely different people, different goals, different ages. I was like, both plans they've been sent have been made for somebody else, or at least copied for somebody else and put that person's name on. And this coach hadn't even taken the name off of it. And I was literally,
I've heard that before as well,
Yeah.
And generally with training plans, like people had a training plan through and it's got someone else's name on, but that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. And I think he questioned this person on it. I don't know whether the coach was male or female or anything, and they were just like, oh yeah, that's just my mistake, but don't worry, it'll work. Like, just stick with it. And it's like, will it though? Like, maybe it will, but is it long term? Like,
the chances are it will. The chances are it will do, because as you know, like you can do a specific plan. You can go onto Google now and get a meal plan or a training plan, and the chances are, like, for a period of time, it might work.
Yeah,
but it's not going to be long term.
No,
and so he's clearly just he's copy and pasting plans, or she, or whatever it might be,
sending it out.
Yeah,
but then for me, that is not. Well, it's not coaching, is it? Because they're saying all you're paying for then is a plan, essentially.
Yeah.
You're just paying for a one-off plan.
You can get that online.
That you could literally just go, you can just
Google that. You're not paying for coaching. Coaching should be, you come in, okay, I'm going to draw you a plan based on your requirements, your needs, how often you want to go to the gym, body parts you want to work on, your nutritional requirements.
Yeah.
It shouldn't just be a copy and paste.
And never once have we put on the training plan, like, a little caveat, by the way, if you want to take your mum to the gym, she could probably squat this with you. Like, it's just, it doesn't happen.
Again, that's it, because at the end of the day, if I took my mum to the gym, there's no way she wants to do back squat or a flipping deadlift. Like, it's not relevant to her. Like, she'd be better suited to doing a leg press or a goblet squat, and then gradually building up. So you can't expect everybody to just do the same stuff.
Yeah, but you've come across a few, haven't you?
I've come across a few. I mean, I suppose there's been similar ones to yourself there in terms of training plans and the names being the same. I have spoke to a guy last week who signed up, so he's been with a bodybuilding coach in the past, and he said he was pretty clear with this guy. He was like, listen, I've got 2 or 3 kids. I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I just want to get into decent shape. And this guy gave him a really restrictive meal plan. And basically, it got to Christmas Day, and he was like, I've got kids and a family, like, I want to enjoy Christmas Day, as we all do, overindulge a little bit. And he was like, well, if you want this hard enough,
you'll skip Christmas.
You'll literally take your chicken and broccoli Tupperware to Christmas Day, and you will eat that, and you'll skip your Christmas dinner. And I was just like, fuck me, that is just mental. And that's, you're expecting someone to do that. I mean, it's just crazy in my eyes because, and listen, everybody's different. Some people might, if you compete, if you're going into show condition or something, maybe those kind of sacrifice, maybe not Christmas Day, but those sacrifices have to be made occasionally. But I mean, expecting a normal person who just wants to lose a bit of body fat, get into decent shape, to do something like that, they're going to hate it.
Yeah.
They're going to hate the process. They're going to hate, and then that, like I say, ultimately is going to leave a bad taste in their mouth about what coaching is.
Yeah.
So we had a good chat, and I was like, listen, I would never expect anything like that. It has to be completely tailored to you. And
I don't think I've ever told anybody to track anything on Christmas Day, like ever.
No, never.
Never.
Absolutely
Never been
not.
into. Even people that were dieting for maybe a photo shoot the other side of Christmas, maybe January, February time, I've literally still been like, it's Christmas, just enjoy yourself. Don't take the whole week off, but Christmas Day, chill out, enjoy yourself.
Fucking have some pigs in blankets. Like, nothing bad's going to happen. And that's, I think, and listen, again, it's going down to, that particular coach is clearly that's what he wants to do. So he expects all his clients to do that. And again, that's I suppose, bad coaching in itself, because me and you are dieting at the moment and you're dieting for a photo shoot. It doesn't mean you're going to expect every single one of your clients to diet as if they're doing a photo shoot.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be you have to be flexible to the client's requirements. And, you expecting, someone who doesn't have the same goal as you to diet the same way as you is just wrong, because they might just need a slightly more flexible approach that does allow them a bit more social events and does allow them to eat with their children in the evening.
So literally, like, as an example, one of my clients at the minute who's a coach himself and he's dieting for a photo shoot before mine, we've got slightly different approaches, or we've put together a slightly different approach for him over the first 3 or 4 weeks to find what works, because he's got a young kid, he's busy with work, his weekends tend to be a little bit more here, there and everywhere. So for him, for example, on the weekend, he just has a calorie target. We don't have protein, we don't have carbs, we don't have fats. It's literally just, you've got a calorie target. It's a little bit more than what he gets through the week. And it's like, that way, you don't have to worry about being restrictive. Like, you obviously still got to hit your calories, but you don't have to worry about how much carbs in this, how much fat's in this, have I hit my protein? And we've run that now for the last week or two. And he said himself on his most recent update, he was like, it's literally spot on for me. It's perfect because he can stay on plan now.
Well, that's kind of similar to me and you. So, I mean, Jake's trying to rope me into doing a photo shoot in November, which I might well do, but we're both dieting regardless.
Yeah.
And you're very much, you're sticking to your macros quite religiously, right? So you've got, I don't know what you're on at the moment, but, you've got your protein, carbs, fat, your calories, etc., and you're sticking to them really well. For me, my situation's a bit different. And like, I've got protein and calories. Naturally, I'm trying to keep carbs a bit higher because training performance, etc. But I need a degree more flexibility just because of family life, etc. So it's again, it's not one size fits all, and that doesn't mean some of my clients do track their macros, and some of them don't. It's just completely dependent on the person.
And I think the point we wanted to sort of make with talking about these, because we've got a couple more examples, is it's not to throw shade at anyone, because it's obviously direct, not calling anyone out or anything, but it's more to make the point that if you have had this experience with a coach and it's your only experience, like, don't think that that's just how it is. Like, don't let it leave a sour taste in your mouth that is just the industry as a whole, because it's not.
It's not.
Like, it's just very unfortunate.
I'd probably say it's a minority, if anything. The vast majority of people, I would like to think, do genuinely care about their clients and genuinely want them to get a great result.
Yeah. And some don't. I mean, I've seen, even not that long ago, someone I know was literally in tears because their coach had literally whatever plan they'd given them that they'd been following, just for whatever reason wasn't working. And it just wasn't, week after week wasn't working. And their response was, this coach's response was basically, you're lying to me. Sort of, you're not following it. And they were, like, I know the person, like, they are a bodybuilder themselves, like, they'll just follow it to a letter. And then basically it got closer and closer to the day. I can't remember if it was a shoot or a show, whatever they were doing. And they didn't feel ready for it. They weren't in the shape they wanted to be in. And this, like, coach was literally just like, it's your fault. Like, literally just your fault, not my problem. And didn't speak to them on the day of it at all. Didn't get in touch with them. And was literally just like, this is your problem. This is your fault. I don't need to deal with it. And I was literally just like, that's
ridiculous.
Like, yeah. Because even beyond coaching, that's just a person, like, just be a person to begin with.
And I think maybe that's where our approach is a little bit different to others anyway, is because I suppose as part of our kind of values is like, I want to get to know my clients. So, you know, for example, I had a client start with me, this was last year, and she did amazing. She dropped, I think it was like 20 kilograms, and she maintained it really well. So like, we smashed it. But when she first signed up, she'd basically signed up to like an influencer style coach.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he had like over 100,000 followers. Did like a one-to-one coaching package supposedly, and basically the package was, you signed up, you paid a stupid amount of money as well, that tied you in for something like 5 or 6 months, and essentially every single week on a Monday she would get a WhatsApp message with a meal plan for that week, and that was it.
That was it.
Like, he didn't want to know how a week had gone.
Yeah.
He didn't want an update on a weight even. It was literally a different meal plan every single week.
Yeah.
And it worked. Like, she lost a load of weight, but ultimately she put the weight back on because she didn't change her habit. She didn't change her, there was no behavior change there. She fucking hated the process.
Yeah.
So when I had a call with her, she was like, are you going to, I'm assuming you're just going to give me a meal plan. And I was like, no, not at all. Like, why would you assume that? And then that's when she kind of went in.
And we typically don't give meal plans out anyway, do we? And that's the thing. Like, if that isn't coaching. Like, for us, if you've not worked with someone who is speaking to you through the week, checking in with how you're getting on, how you're finding things, if you're struggling with anything, having at least one time a week where you go through, how's your physique changed? How's your weight changed? How are you getting on in the gym? What's your food been like? How do you feel? Like, if you're not going through these things on a weekly basis, is there anything coming up that we need to plan ahead for the next week so we can keep you on track?
External things, like, because I certainly, as like a busy person with a family, etc., there might be things going on externally outside of your fitness, outside of your training. And listen, people don't need to go into details with you. A lot of the time they do, but like, because you develop that relationship. But ultimately, that has an effect.
Yeah,
it's gonna affect the way that you train, the way that you're able to diet as well.
Yeah.
So just by getting a meal plan every single week, what the fuck does that do?
Yeah, and I think that's the difference between like a plan or like maybe a teacher, where they're necessarily just, this is what this is, follow it, or that's just the fact of it. Whereas coaching's a bit more trying to teach that person to think for themselves a bit more. And 9 times out of 10, we'll get to points with clients where they'll message and be like, right, this has come up, but I think that if I just adjust this down and account for this, I can make this work so that we can stay on plan. And I'm literally just like, yeah, cool.
Yeah.
Or a lot of the time they'll message me, not in this start, because obviously at the start it's a bit more like support, guidance, get them going. But after a while, it's a bit like, if they say, this has happened, what do you think I should do? I'll literally like, okay, well, what do you think you should do? And then say yes or no, because it gets them thinking more for themselves.
Because we want our clients to think for themselves.
Because they're not going to be with us forever.
Exactly.
And we don't want it to be a situation where when we go, they're suddenly like, what the fuck do I do now?
Exactly.
Like, we need them to be able to actually think for themselves.
Exactly that. And going back to that client, in the end, like I say, I think she lost about 20 kilograms. She absolutely smashed it, and then she maintained for a couple of months. She was able to make those decisions for herself. She had a great understanding of how to balance her social life, and incorporate all that kind of stuff. And I spoke to her not too long ago, and she's still in the same position, like a year on from coaching.
Yeah.
And I'm like, right, wicked. Coaching done properly. And like, that's, if it's done in the right way, and I always say this to my clients right at the start, it sounds a bit cheesy, but if we do it properly, we do it once.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then you won't need another coach. You might want one. Like, we still have coaches because we enjoy the process, we enjoy the accountability, we enjoy like the structure and the clarity and all that kind of stuff. But, for someone like who just wants to lose weight and kind of maintain that long term, if you do it properly, you do it once.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's it. I think it's just, don't, to sort of sum that up, if you have had a bad experience or heard of a bad experience,
sign up with us. I know, I'm joking.
But don't let it put you off it as a whole. Like, if you need help from someone, and we're going to do another episode on this, but find someone that you can relate to, that you know is going to be able to deliver something that you're going to need, and not just give you a plan.
And look at their values. So, you know, if you are someone who just wants to lose a few pounds, don't sign up with someone who's stepping on stage every single week. And not saying that they're a bad coach. Again, I'm not saying that, but again,
there might be a mismatch of values there.
Be a mismatch.
You might want the sort of the bodybuilding result, but you won't want the bodybuilding lifestyle.
Exactly.
And it is literally that.
Yeah.
And there's tons of ways to do it. You just got to find someone that can match your way of wanting to do it, essentially.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think we'll leave it there. I think we've pretty much covered, unless there's
I mean, I've got plenty more stories. But, you know, we don't want this episode to be drawn out. It's too long,
we could have said we're going on all day, ranting about it one after the other.
This guy called, I think he's called J Chem biceps banter, something like that. It's some shocking, awful stuff, mate.
But yeah, so I think that's it.
Right, nice one, guys.
So we'll leave it there.
Soon.
I'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
And if you found that video useful, then go ahead and click on this one right here for some more answers to your fitness problems.